What happened 25 years ago opened up for a kind of experiment. What would happen when a country that had had a kind of dictatorship, in the Polish case, relatively soft as compared to the neighboring countries, what would happen when a European country with that background introduced democracy? We knew something about that because it had happened before in Spain, Portugal, Greece, with great success. In fact, in Central Eastern Central Europe, it went slower. The political life was less clear-cut at the outset. There were various conflict lines operating at the same time that to some extent resembled those in western parts of Europe, but in other respects were characteristic for these countries. One of the things that distinguish, let's say, a country like Poland from more countries further to the west in Europe is that history plays such a big role. History is living. You come across monuments, small and big monuments all over the country. If you open a newspaper, there will be articles about history, usually recent history, and coming to terms with this recent history is one of the main political subjects on the agenda. And some political alternatives, some political parties have this as one of their main markers. And which means that what happened 25 years ago, this peaceful transition to democracy, where the old regime and the new regime sat down around a table, around a round table, even starting 6th of February 1989, coming to terms with each other, making a kind of negotiated transition, as it turned out to develop into during the summer of 1989, would to a typical Norwegian eye look like something uncontroversial and something to be happy about, something like what happened in South Africa with Nelson Mandela and so on. But in the eye of some Polish people, this is not that easy, because what happened was that in their eyes that an undemocratic regime that had made a lot of what should I say, had imprisoned people, for instance, curbed free expression of opinions and so on, were left without any questioning about their past. Well, as a political scientist involved in this cooperation, involved in a project under the EEA Norway Grants agreement, I am of course quite positive to this idea. We are having a very good cooperation with the University of Warsaw in a project related to urban adaptation to climate change, which is a research field on the rise internationally, in which my institute, the Norwegian Institute of Urban and Regional Research, is very much involved, not least in Norway. And the fact that this research fund made it possible for us to set up a joint Polish-Norwegian project is, as I see it, not only very good for us, but it's good for research as such. And I very much appreciate the fact that the research fund has a provision that a certain amount of the funds should be dedicated to social science and the humanities.